Hello everyone, welcome back for another episode of the Anime Podcast Show. This is episode 11. We got a lot of things to talk about for this episode. Not only that, we got a special guest for this episode, and the next, I will introduce him later in the show. But let's get started with the first segment is what anime shows get into during the COVID pandemic. And this series is the craziest anime series of all time. That's what I'm going to say about it. But it's the most popular, beloved manga series. But, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to talk about this, one of the best and favorite anime series of all time, but it's called Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer is a Japanese manga series. It follows Tanjiro Kamado, who strives to become a demon slayer after his family is slaughtered and his younger sister, Nezuko, is turned into a demon. It was serialized in Shueisha's Weekly Shonen Jump magazine from February 2016 to May 2020 with over 23 volumes. It has made the first 26 episodes of the first season of the anime adaptation, produced by Ufotable, aired in Japan from April to September of 2019. Also, it made a film adaptation, the next arc named Mugen Train Movie. While I talked about the movie all the time in the podcast show, the film became the highest grossing anime film of all time and Japanese film of all time as well. And now a second season will be premiering later in 2021. The series licensed by Aniplex of America. It released 2 limited editions on Blu-ray on June 30th and November 24th of 2020. But on DVD was September 29th of 2020 and January 19th of 2021. The series had been streamed on Crunchyroll, Netflix, Hulu, Funimation. For the English dub of Demon Slayer was dubbed by Bang Zoom Entertainment. Also, the series aired on Adult Swim's Toonami on October 13th of 2019. Madman Entertainment acquired the series for Australia and New Zealand and streamed it on Anime Lab. In the UK, Anime Limited acquired the series as well. Just want to clarify and mention to that. What was the reason I got into the series? Well, I try to remember. It was back in 2019 when the show was still airing on Toonami at the time. But back then, I recognized some of the English cast. Speaking about the English cast though, in the next few minutes, I got a call on the line from one of the cast members from Demon Slayer. I'm going to speak with him in a bit. Let me continue what I'm saying. Oh yeah. Then, after that, I heard that they were going to release a movie from Japan. So I decided to watch the series before the film comes out. But at the time, didn't know what's the release date for the film. But then, it got announced saying it'll be out in October of 2020. So I decided to watch the series in July of 2020. And actually, it worked. My plan worked to see it. And I was so surprised about the English cast. And then I was like, oh my gosh, this is the most perfect cast ever for the dub side. Then months went by, February of 2021, for the Japanese subtitled, it hit the film in Australia. Then after that, the film became a #1 movie in the country. Like, wait, what? How did it become a #1 movie in the country? And here's a fun fact though. In Australia, we never hit box office numbers for anime films. The last anime movie that broke box office numbers, it was Pokemon the first movie. And now, looking to Demon Slayer, I'm like, how the hell the film went so popular? And let me tell you, on the day when I was about to see the movie, on the second day, it blew up the box office, like 1.8 million box office sales, like, the day after it came out. It's crazy. Like, what the nah, fam. It's how, like, in my mind, like, how Demon Slayer is so popular these days. I'm still surprised about that. Holy crap. It's so funny that I've seen this movie 3 times. Twice in Japanese and once in English. Then, I saw the English dub in April of 2021. And still, I love the film. And also recognize the English cast as well. And hearing the new cast members who's a part of Demon Slayer, never been a part of a series like Demon Slayer is. Still cannot wait for the upcoming second season. But by the time the video's out, the second season is already out. For about a couple of episodes, I would say 6 or 7 episodes already out. Or maybe 4 or 5. I don't know. That's my prediction. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of the first segment about me got into anime during the COVID pandemic. And that is about Demon Slayer. And ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to keep him a bit longer. I got a brand new segment called Interviews with Voice Actors. So basically about this new segment, it's about voice actors who's a part of a series like Demon Slayer or another series this person's a part of. So we can talk about a topic around Demon Slayer or another series, or we can talk about a random series or whatever we can speak about. So let me tell you about this person. You know him. He voiced so many great characters for anime, video games, and also for animation as well. You guys know him as Cat Noir / Adrian in Miraculous Ladybug. He voiced Shiro from the Fate Stay Night series. He voiced Eren Yeager in Attack on Titan. He voiced Ren Okumura in Blue Exorcist. He voiced, of course, Inosuke from Demon Slayer. He voiced your boy Kirito from SAO, Sword Art Online. And he voiced Meliodas and Zildris in Seven Deadly Sins. But ladies and gentlemen, give it up to the incredible and amazing voice actor, Bryce Pappenbrook. Hello, Bryce. How you doing?
Luigi! I'm happy to be here.
Welcome to the Anime Podcast Show, dude. Welcome.
I'm happy to be on, my man.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to say I met Bryce before, twice in person for Sumanova and Madman conventions. It was actually 9 months apart. Is that correct?
Yeah, I love coming to Australia, and when Supernova invites me out or Madman Anime Fest invites me out, I am extremely excited to take the long trip over the Pacific and come hang out down under.
That's awesome.
It's always a great experience when I get to go hang out, and I'm very hopeful that I'll have another opportunity to make my way to that part of the world sometime in the future.
Okay. All right. Let's ask some questions, man. All right.
Let's do.
So the first question is, what was your reaction when you found out about the COVID pandemic lockdown?
Well, interesting enough, and this has to do with Australia too. Funny that you ask. So just before the pandemic happened, things were starting to hit different parts of the world. And one of the first places to actually lock down was Japan. And in March of, I believe, 2020, Madman Anime Festival was having an event. And unfortunately, a few days before their event, Japan locked down and all of their fantastic Japanese guests had to cancel the appearance. So in a rush, they reached out to a few different actors that they had been comfortable with and they had worked with before, and I happened to be one of them. So Madman reached out to me just a few days before the event and said, hey, in a couple days, do you want to come to Australia? And I said, absolutely, I would love to come. So that's why I came in last second to replace some of the Japanese guests that unfortunately weren't able to leave their country.
That's correct.
So when we landed in Australia, things were starting to progress in other areas, but they hadn't in Australia. So Madman Anime Festival, we had heard of this stuff and we started to be a little bit self-conscious of cleanliness and, making sure things were okay. But the pandemic and COVID had not touched Australia yet. So I had an amazing convention, and then I stayed over and had an amazing time in Australia. And then when I flew home, there was no toilet paper in Los Angeles. That's how close we cut it to getting back before the pandemic actually hit. The day we landed in LA, I believe there was an actor that was in Australia that announced that he had COVID and was kind of in lockdown in Australia. And that was the first person to kind of make the news in that country. It was that day that we landed. So was very close to being locked down in Australia with my family. I mean, if I was there maybe another couple days, I might still be in Australia. Who knows? But it's possible. But yeah, I mean, that's my experience with kind of the start of the pandemic. And when I got back, there were many projects that were still ongoing, and no one in the States knew what to do or how to react, but they knew I had just traveled internationally. So all of the studios said, probably not a good idea for you to come in and record. You shouldn't come into the studio because you just did all this international travel. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure I'm not sick. I don't think COVID was a thing over there in Australia, but I understand I better build a studio. So very quickly, I built a temporary studio in my closet, put it together very, very quickly. And, it was small and compact, but it did the trick. And I worked out of that closet studio for the better half of 2020. I was fighting myself as Meliodas and Zeldris in there, recorded the Demon Slayer movie from that closet booth. I also recorded a lot of Sword Art Online Alicization from that booth, did a tremendous amount of really awesome work from there. But at the end of the year, it was time to step it up, and I'm now talking to you from my new and improved studio at my house, which I absolutely love.
That's awesome, man. And also, like you were talking about home studios as well, what was, in the very beginning, was it very difficult of recording in your home?
Yeah, absolutely. I had never done it before, especially to picture. I had recorded some commercial things for radio spots, but never any dubbing specifically. So we had to figure it out. And I, put quite a bit of time into trying to make it sound good and trying to send the right signals, and how do I record a backup, and how do I get the right, without latency. And similarly, like, all of the studios were trying to figure it out at the same time. So it took a little while. For us to do it, but we eventually did. And I'm so happy that, recording didn't shut down. That voice acting was one of the only things to really flourish during the pandemic.
All right. Okay. All the shows you worked on, have you met your Japanese counterparts?
I have for a few of them, but not. It's very, very rare to meet your Japanese counterpart. But I've actually met 3 of mine. I've met Nobu, I call him Nobu. He plays Rino Kumura in Blue Exorcist.
Okay.
I've met Mr. Matsuoka, who plays Kirito and Inosuke. I've met him the most. He's the one I've had the most experiences with. I've met him more than once. I guess 3 times now, which is amazing. And then I've met Kaji-san, who plays Eren Yeager and Meliodas and Zeldris, and we share a handful of other roles. So it's been a tremendous experience to be able to connect with those guys and talk about these projects that we love, and share with them how inspiring their performances have been for me personally.
Of course. And also, like what you mentioned about Eren's voice actor, he was originally going to be at MadFest last year, originally. But then, like what you said about the COVID lockdown in Japan and everything else.
Yes, apologies to Kaji-san that he wasn't able to take the trip down under, but I really appreciate the team at Madman tagging me in as a some sort of replacement for Kaji-san. I appreciate that.
Also, I want to mention is that people, if you guys don't know, Shingo Adachi is the character designer for Sword Art Online, and Bryce, you host a panel for 2 days with Adachi-san. Is that correct?
Yeah, it was really cool because I wasn't planning on being there, so they hadn't planned that. And when I landed, they're like, "Well, Mr. Adachi-san doesn't really have a moderator. Would you like to join and help host the panel?" So they invited me to do that. And I'm like, "Is that something Mr. Adachi-san wants?" And he said, "Absolutely." So it was kind of an honor to be invited up to host that panel. And I have to say this, Adachi-san is incredibly talented. He is an amazing artist and designer, and it was so cool to see and hear his perspective and watch him do some of what he does. And I left that event with, I think, my most cherished piece of art. Adachi-san drew a Kirito for me. And when he gave it to me, he said, "This is something even Matsuoka-san doesn't have." So I felt so honored to receive that from him.
So what was that experience with Mr. Shingo Adachi? Because you hang with him before in Anime Expo, am I correct?
Yeah, we had met before, and Anime Expo is one of those events where there are a lot of people, and there's a lot going on, and it is hard to really connect with someone. But at MadFest, because I was, kind of helping to lead that panel, I really got to connect with him, and we got to hang out a little bit kind of between things, and I actually had like some great conversations with him. And it was just an incredible experience to hear his method. And as we were talking, it was so interesting. Like, we kind of landed on similarities between what I do as a voice actor and what he does, and how I take inspiration from some of the things he creates and puts out there. And it was so fun and such an interesting experience and panel.
That's awesome. What you can remember your first recording session from Attack on Titan?
Yeah, actually, it was a pretty surreal session. So just to kind of backtrack a little bit. Well, first, Luigi, have you read the manga for Attack on Titan?
No, I haven't.
Then you can't spoil it for me because I haven't read it either. So I have no idea at this point what's about to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But Attack on Titan is a really special show, and I discovered it when there were about 6 episodes that had been released in Japan.
Okay.
And fell in love with the show after episode 5. Everyone who hasn't seen it, I recommend you watch at least 5 episodes. If you don't love it by that point, it's probably not the show for you.
Go watch it, people. Go watch it.
There you go. Go check it out. So by then, I was hooked. I would watch it every week as it came out, and I thought this would be a really cool show to be a part of, even if I'm guy who gets stepped on by Titan. That would have been amazing. So when the auditions went out for the show, my buddy, his name's Patrick Seitz. He's a director and an actor, and he's been in all sorts of things. He received the auditions, and we had just hung out at a convention and talked about Attack on Titan and about, all the cool stuff happening. So he knew I loved the show. And when he received the audition from Mike McFarlane, the director, he said, "Hey, my buddy Bryce would love to read for you. Would it be okay if I pass along the audition to him?" And Mike's like, "Yeah, I'm having people from LA and New York and Houston and Dallas and all over read for the show." So I received the audition. I read for Eren, Armin, and Levi, and it was my first audition for Funimation. About 2 weeks after, I got a call from Mike, and he said, "Hey, Bryce, heard what you sent. Really loved your take on Eren, and I'd love to invite you to play him. Are you interested in flying out to Funimation and recording with us?" And I went, "Yeah, Mike, that sounds great. I'm really excited. I can't wait to work with you." Click. Oh my God, this is so cool. And I just freaked out and fanboyed out. So fast forward, I flew out to Dallas. Mike McFarland was such a gracious host. He actually let me stay at his house. So we would drive into the studio, record for about 8 hours, go home, fall asleep, wake up, and do it again the next day.
Moly, that's awesome, Bryce. That's awesome. Giving you that opportunity, right?
Yeah, exactly. So first session in, it was pretty surreal. Like, when you walk through that building at Funimation, they have these giant posters of Full Metal Alchemist and Dragon Ball Z and all these amazing shows. And then I walk into the booth and it's I'm being directed by Master Roshi. This is such a surreal experience.
Awesome.
And you never know what's going to happen on the first day of a show. Like if you're going to record the same way as a director, or if you're going to feel the same way about the role. And fortunately, like our method of recording was very, very similar. And Mike's kind of thought process around the show was exactly what I was hoping. He wanted something gritty and raw and didn't want me as an actor to hold anything back. In fact, he pulled that nasty delivery, those really disgusting sounds. He wanted to pull that from me. And I knew, being in there with someone like Mike, I didn't want to hold anything back, and I wanted to do what was right for that show. So really gave it everything I had. And incredible first day, incredible experience. And I still look back at those times, and it just makes me smile to think about that actually happened, that I was able to do that, and it was just so much fun.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Yeah, we all love Attack on Titan, and you absolutely killed that performance as Eren. And
thank you.
Yeah, and got two more questions. Is what did, when they announced that you were Eren, what was people's reaction was?
Well, it was so interesting because one, I had never worked for Funimation. I don't think many people did me to play the role. And it was pretty cool, actually. The weekend that they planned to announce, they were going to do the big giant announcement at a convention called Anime Boston, which is one of the largest anime conventions in that area. And they get massive, massive crowds. And unfortunately, I was invited to another convention that same weekend. And for me, my word means everything. So when I make a commitment to a convention promoter and I tell them I'm coming, I really mean it. So when they said, after I had already agreed to go to this convention, we're announcing Attack on Titan at Anime Boston, and we're all going to be there. Trina, Mike, Matthew Mercer, Josh Greeley, we're all going to be up on stage. Can you come? I said, I can't. I can't go. So there's a photo of the announcement that happened. And, all of those guys are standing up on stage. They're saluting. And behind them is about a couple thousand people all saluting at the same time. And it was an incredible photo. And I saw that, and I was at this other convention, and maybe 15, 20 minutes after the announcement, I had a panel. And my panel that day was in a much smaller room, but standing room only. They could barely, like people were watching the panel. It was just me watching the panel, lining the hall outside the door. And I said, all right, everybody, here's our rebuttal to Anime Boston. And we all saluted. And I have my panel of everyone with me the day that I was announced as Eren Yeager. So those were my Yeagerists in training very early.
Wow, that's awesome, man. Holy crap.
In fact, Luigi, I want to find the photo. We'll keep talking, but I'm going to find it. Just show it to you.
Okay.
So you can see what I'm talking about. But that first day, it was so interesting because no one thought it would be me, and I think the reaction was really positive. I think it was pretty solid right from the get-go. I think a lot of people were curious what I would do as Eren, and
I can imagine that.
Yeah. So this was a while ago, so I'm scrolling pretty far back.
It doesn't matter, man.
And I'll show you another one that I think you'd enjoy.
Okay.
Here's a good one of me.
The Vegemite. Oh, that's so cool.
My awesome times in Australia before I knew how much Vegemite you're supposed to eat in one sitting.
Oh my gosh. All right. Last question is describe 3 words about Inosuke for Demon Slayer.
In 3 words?
3 words. Yeah.
Oh. Loud, insane, bore.
Great words, Bryce. Great words.
That's how I would describe him.
Okay. Bryce, my friend, we're about to wrap up the interview. We're going to move on to the next segment of my show. And yeah, thanks so much, man.
Hey, thank you for having me on. It's been awesome.
And we'll see each other again in the next convention when you're ready to go back.
Yeah. I hope I'm back down under sometime very soon.
Yeah, all right. Bryce is one of the best voice actors I know. Now let's move on to the next segment of the show. That is Topic of the Week. The last time I talked about this was about anime openings and ending theme songs from the TV shows. Now I'm going to be talking about my favorite anime movie theme songs. So I got a top 5 list. Let me tell you what's my top 5 anime theme songs from movies. I want to start in the list with my top 5 list, starting with the Moon Effect song. This track was used for part 2 of the Sailor Moon Eternal film. It has been a long time coming of waiting for a next Sailor Moon movie. After the last film came out in Japan back in 95 for the Black Dream Hole film, this song was sang by 10 Japanese voice actors who voiced the Sailor Guardians from Sailor Moon, Sailor Chibi Moon, to Sailor Saturn. You will listen to these songs from the Sailor Moon Internal Characters Song Collection album. But you know what? This song is really, really interesting. And also, hearing the Japanese voice actors singing these type of songs for a theme song for a Sailor Moon like Internal is. But it's really interesting of what they were going throughout the film. And I like how they developed the characters from Crystal Season 3 and then go all the way to the film. That's really interesting. But I still cannot wait what they're going to bring to the table for the last arc of Sailor Moon, and that is the Sailor Stars anime. Well, I heard rumors saying it's going to be continued, but well, who knows if it's going to be continued or not. We'll see if they make a 5th season or make another movie. We'll see what's going to happen. Now let's move on to number 4. Number 4, I have to give this song is Blizzard. I was shocked this song exists, and it's from Dragon Ball Super Broly. I would say this song is one of my favorites because it has a rock beat song vibe to it. Also, I would like to mention is it's a game changer for the storyline taking Goku and Vegeta's effect in the Dragon Ball Super story from the anime, from the Tournament Power arc to the Broly film, and also for the upcoming Dragon Ball Super superhero film that is coming up later next year. And now Broly is in the Broly film he was a villain of the film, but now a future ally to Goku and Vegeta. So we don't know what type of threat they're gonna be coming to the story, but we don't know about what's gonna be happening for the next film. But still, I absolutely what I like about this song, and including what they did for the film, that's my interpretation about Dragon Ball, what I love about that series. Now that was about Dragon Ball Super Broly. Now let's move on to number 3. Number 3 is Hana no Nuta from the Fate Stay Night movie number 1, Heaven's Feel. This one I really enjoyed listening to, and this song hits me hard because this track means a deeper of sadness, and there's no way it feels like a dream, not a reality. And don't feel bad for the person she's going through. And that's a reference to Sakura, that Sakura's going through what she's going through in this film. But this is a different route they were going through in the Fate series. And also, I think this is the last story in the original Fate Stay Night route. I think that it is. And also, if you see in the next 2 films, I'm gonna try to make a bit of a spoiler alert. Yeah, that's a spoiler alert that Sakura has a crush on Shiro in the film, and they're gonna spend the rest of their lives together. But then she became one of the villainous villain that we've seen in the next 2 films for movie 2 and movie 3. And this is why I love about the Fate Stay Night series, including with the Unlimited Blade Works and the Heaven's Feel movies. But this is what I interpret to the Fate Stay Night series as as a franchise as a whole. So now let's move on to number 2. Number 2 has to go to One Last Kiss from Evangelion 3.0 plus 1.0. After so many years, this is a long final goodbye to Evangelion. It's such a beautiful song, very catchy, and I think this is a farewell to the characters we all knew from the original series to the rebuild movies. But I love how they did for this movie, and obviously this is one of my favorite Evangelion movies ever. And they made one of the most perfect endings, but I know people have their own opinions about this movie, and it's very confusing. And I think this is the longest Evangelion movie ever been made. But I think Hideaki Anno did a good job doing this film. And when I was watching the documentary, I was like, oh my gosh, he did something really different, never done before. And if you guys haven't seen the documentary, go watch it on Amazon Prime. It's really interesting of the progress of he was going through of the Evangelion final movies production. I think Evangelion 3.0 plus 1.0 is such a great film. I'll give 100% of one of the best anime films of 2021. That's all I gotta say about it. Now let's move on to number 1 of the list before we move on to the next segment. Number 1 is Homula from Demon Slayer Mugen Train. What can I say about this one? This song is the one hits me hard more than the Fate Stay Night theme song. Love the Mugen Train movie. I nearly cried watching the film because it's about, well, this song, I think it's about heartbroken and losing a friend like Rengoku in the film. And also, we all know about Tanjiro's, what he was going through in the Demon Slayer first season. And I would love what they're going to bring to the second season of the Entertainment District arc. This movie is building up what Tanjiro is going through and bringing Nezuko, Inosuke, Zenitsu, bringing them along, what the characters are building up to this moment from the film to the Entertainment District arc, what they're bringing to the arc, and also bringing future arcs for the other characters we're going to see in the anime. So that is Demon Slayer Mugen Train. And that's the end of Topic of the Week. We are going to move on to the next segment is Remembering Your Childhood Watching Anime. Let's see what I'm going to be talking about for this one. The next show I'm going to be speaking about is Duel Masters. Well, it's my long time short memory, but I'll try to remember. It's around 2005. Well, at that time, the show was in promotion on DVD from Paramount. And I didn't know they already aired a few episodes for Duel Masters. And I remember I got one of their DVDs, and I really enjoyed it. But then years later, in 2019, I found out was the show was airing on Toonami, and I didn't know that they're gonna release it on Toonami and didn't know they aired it. And actually, funny thing though about airing for us here is that we do aired Duel Masters here. I think they aired the first season only, and I think that's about it. That's what I remember. And I didn't know that there was another group of English cast dub Duel Masters for season 2 and 3, because they didn't like some of the cast didn't play their characters right in the first season, so most of the cast got recast. And none of those episodes never got released. They only aired those episodes on Toonami. I was still trying to remember the card game, but it got a bit of confusing of the Duel Masters game. But that's the only thing I can remember. But now let's move on to the next segment before wrapping up the show. The last segment is what has been announced so far throughout 2021. Let's talk about the first announcement is we all know about the new Dragon Ball Super movie sequel is coming. But it was announced months ago, but now we get a new title of the film called Dragon Ball Super Superhero. It's fully CGI'd. I think this is the first CGI movie for Dragon Ball, but they did a few CGIs in the past. Before they were going to do the film, they did a Universal Studios 4D experience rides for it. But I still cannot wait for it until in 2022. Second announcement. And it's about Digimon fans rejoice after the announcement from DigiFest this year is a brand new Digimon movie in the works, and it's going to be based on the O2 cast. The team who worked on Digimon Adventure Last Evolution Kazuna are coming to work on the Adventure O2 movie. But the teaser does offer some little hints is what is the film about. It's something like how Davis and his digital partner named Vmon once met as kids with a Digivice, but no Digimon with him. That he is the first person to ever a partner with a Digimon. In the trailer, it feels like a sweet nostalgic. And I'm a huge Digimon fan, and I cannot wait what they're gonna bring to the table. And I don't know if they're gonna do a new introduction about Davis and the characters, or they're gonna bring a new story like Davis is old enough, or I don't know what they're gonna do with it. So we'll see when it comes out, when they announce it for the film. And the last announcement is this December. You fans are going to be very excited about this, and that is the JoJo Stone Ocean anime. We finally got the announcement that we all want from JoJo Bizarre Adventure, and now it's coming to Netflix this December. And I'm very excited for us fans of JoJo. It's coming on Netflix for the Stone Ocean anime, and we all been waiting for this anime to come out. And now this is the wrap up for this episode. Thanks for listening and watching the show. For the next episode, I got another special guest, but she's a voice actor as well. She's going to be my next guest for the interviews, and also for you guys. Catch you guys next time, and stay safe and peace.